Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Tonight we're doing dinner in the air fryer. I am doing a honey bourbon marinade for our steak bites, and we are going to do Parmesan garlic French fries with aioli sauce to dip them in, and it's just delicious. We'll just go with that. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for watching today. I'm going to put all the ingredients and steps in the description below. What I love about this marinade, you can put this on steak. You can use this for grilling. Delicious. Okay, so I have my steak. My steak's going to hang out here for a second. And we're going to put together the marinade sauce. I am going to start with about 1/3 cup of honey. I'm just going to squeeze it right into my mixing bowl here. About 1/3 cup. And we are going to do 1/4 cup of bourbon or whiskey. Whatever you got, get the good stuff. You want to make sure it's good enough to drink. We're going to pour this in. Don't tell the hubs you're using his good stuff for a recipe. It's kind of our kitchen secret, isn't it? Okay, put the lid back on there on that. We are going to add in 1/4 cup of soy and 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Goodness sakes, Worcestershire. Usually I can say that pretty well. Not today, apparently. All right, let's add 1/4 cup of each. You don't have to be spot on with these measurements. Oh, yeah. We're going to add in about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. We're going to add in about a tablespoon of minced garlic. Just going to eyeball it. There we go. Going to add in some salt, a little pepper, 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Just kind of drizzle that in there. Okay, we're going to give this a nice, good mix. Make sure you get that honey mixed in good. It kind of likes to stick to the bottom of your bowl. If you're looking for some other easy weeknight dinner recipes, check out that playlist. I'll link to it above. All sorts of easy, kid, family-friendly meals that you can make. I also have tons of make-ahead slow cooker. If you're a busy family like we are, those sure come in handy, especially for meal planning. Okay, I'm going to grab my steak. And you can do this for full-size steaks. You can do this for steak bites. We have like mini thin sliced steaks. And I am going to kind of just let them hang out in here and soak. I'm actually not going to let them soak for too long. I'm going to end up putting them in the air fryer here probably in about 15 minutes. If you've got more time, you can either put them all into the bowl and cover and store it in your fridge for a good 30 minutes to an hour, or put it in a gallon Ziploc baggie. All right, we're going to keep adding our steak, and then we're going to get the fries ready, and we will get the air fryer out and get this dinner going. Okay, we are ready to start the garlic parmesan seasoning for our French fries. And if you don't want to do these in the air fryer, you could totally do this and put them in the oven. Perfect. We are going to start with about another 2 tablespoons of melted butter. We're going to do 1 teaspoon or so of minced garlic. We are going to do about a teaspoon or so of parsley or Italian seasoning. Just adds a little hint of flavor. And about 1/4 cup, I'm not even going to measure, guys, of Parmesan cheese. And while I'm doing this, I have taken my French fries out of the bag and put them in a strainer. and rinse them off with cold water. If you want to, you can let them sit in the cold water for a good 10 to 15 minutes. It helps get rid of the starch out of your fries and just helps them absorb your moisture better and cook better in your air fryer. They'll be more crispy. We're gonna mix this together. Forgot my sea salt. Where is it hiding here? Gotta have some salt on those fries. And I'm gonna add in just a little bit of olive oil. Makes them crunch up just a little bit better. Okay, that's probably about a good tablespoon or so. Mix this together nicely. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my fries and we're gonna coat the fries with the seasoning. So I have my air fryer basket and I have put a couple of my steaks in here and some of my French fries. And I am going to take my seasoning for the fries. I'm actually just going to kind of baste it on. Okay, perfect. I am going to set my air fryer to air fry. And then the fries are going to take probably about 5 to 7 minutes. Every air fryer is a little bit different. Ours cook fries pretty good in about 5 to 7 minutes. The steaks, depends on how well you like your steaks done. I like mine on the charcoal side. My husband likes his still mooing, and my kids are somewhat in the middle. They like theirs medium well done. So I am going to let these ones cook. If you want a medium well done steak, it's usually about 10 minutes or so that I have found. Again, it depends also on the thickness of your steak or if you're doing steak bites. So just pay attention to what you are doing, cook it how you want. Everyone's gonna have a little bit different cooking time with their air fryer for this recipe. While we are waiting for the steak and the Parmesan fries to cook in the air fryer, we're gonna make a little batch of aioli sauce to dip the French fries in. If you want to, you could swap out mayo for some vanilla yogurt. My kids actually prefer it made with the mayo. We're not big on mayo in our family, but for this recipe, I do it. And you're gonna want about a half a cup or so. If you're gonna be feeding a lot of people, you can always double this recipe pretty easily. And we are going to add in just 1 little teaspoon of minced garlic. We're gonna add in a little bit more parsley Italian seasoning. And I have got 2 lemons. You're gonna want about 3 tablespoons worth of fresh lemon juice. It kind of depends how big your lemons are. These are a little bit on the small side. Pretty juicy little lemons though, so I think maybe I can get away with just 1. Perfect. Add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Give it a nice little mix. I'm going to add a dash of paprika to mine. My husband actually likes red pepper flakes in his. All right, we're gonna put this in a little dish. Gonna let it chill in the fridge while our steak and fries finish cooking. Air fryer is telling me it is time to flip my steaks over. These fries smell amazing. I can't wait to eat them dip them into our aioli sauce. The honey bourbon glazed steaks. Oh my gosh. This recipe is delicious. Your family's gonna love it. Add it to your meal plan, y'all. Thank you so much for watching today, and we will see y'all next time. Today on In the Kitchen with Grace, we are making beef hand pies. These are so good and they are super easy to make. I have my ground beef, about a pound of ground beef cooking in the skillet. I have about a tablespoon of minced garlic and about 1/4 of an onion diced up cooking here. We're going to get that all cooked through. I'm going to show you how to make the hand pie dough recipe. Super quick and easy to do. Again, this is all handmade, and then we'll come back and we'll put all of the filling mixture together. So the ground beef mixture is browned up nicely, and I'm actually going to add in a dash of steak sauce. And a dash of Worcestershire. Say that one 3 times. And I'm going to mix this up real nice here. Just adds a little bit of flavor to your meat, a little extra richness to the hand pie. All right, we are ready. So for these beef hand pies, these are kind of similar to a Cornish pasty, but Cornish pasties are just your ground beef, your onions, and potatoes. And so this is more of a traditional hand pie. We're going to add in some extra mixed vegetables, and the recipe for the dough here, I'll share that with you now. And basically for the Cornish paste, or for these hand pies, I call them Cornish pasties, but I know they're not. Basically for these hand pies, I double my basic pie crust recipe. So that recipe is here. Today, In the Kitchen with Grace, we are going to make a really quick, simple pie crust. This crust recipe is actually, I'm using it to make hand pies, meat hand pies today for dinner tonight. But I wanted to share this recipe with you because it's super quick and easy, and you can use it for pretty much anything. We are going to start with 1.5 cups of flour. And I'm using my 1/2 cup measuring cup here. There's half, there's 1, and there's another half. So we got 1.5 cups there. You want to have a pinch of white sugar. So just a little pinch. You need about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Get out your measuring spoons though if you're not used to eyeballing your measurements. And then we want about 5 tablespoons of ice water. And I have a little bit more than that in here in case I need just a little bit more. And you want 8 tablespoons of butter. You can actually hear behind me on the stove, I have the meat for my hand pies sizzling, and oh my gosh, it smells amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and dump my butter in. Now, you want to have your butter be cold. Mine was really hard though, so I did soften it up just a little bit. It's totally okay. And we're gonna mix this together. I'm starting with the butter before I add my water. I'll just mix this in. I'm not adding all of it. You want about 5 tablespoons of water. But I always like to have a little bit extra on hand just in case. Kind of really want to cut that butter in there. crumble first, and then it will come together into a big ball for you. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little sprinkle more water. And so I have my double pie crust recipe. It's been chilling a little bit, and so we'll roll that out here in just a minute. But I'm gonna take my ground beef mixture. This has the onions and the minced garlic in it. And I have some leftover boiled potatoes, baby potatoes that I diced up. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. And then I have a can of mixed vegetables. This is a great way to use up random things, leftovers in your refrigerator. If you've got frozen or canned mixed vegetables, you can just toss them in. So I have, this has carrots, corn, potatoes, green beans, a little bit of everything, some peas. That's probably about good. Not using the whole can there. And I'm going to go ahead and just mix this together. And this is why I like to add a dash of the steak sauce and Worcestershire. It just kind of adds a little bit more flavor. And if you want to, you could also add a little bit extra like salt and pepper or any other kind of seasoning you want, really. But we kind of just like to leave it as is. That's mixed together nicely. And now I'm going to roll out my dough. Dry this off just a little bit here. I'm going to get some flour. We're going to sprinkle that down. My counter's still a little damp. I washed her down after making the dough, and she's damp. Here we go. Sprinkle the flour around for rolling out the dough. Get it on your hands, baking tips. Keeps the dough from sticking to you. All right, we're gonna press her down. If your dough is a little bit crumbly, you just got to work it a little bit more. All right, I'm going to take a chunk of dough, about a handful, and work it together here. And you could even just use your hands if you would like, or a rolling pin. The thing about hand pies, you don't have to make them perfect. You kind of want them to be in a bit of a rectangle or oval shape because you're going to want to fold it over in half. And before I add meat mixture, I kind of take a knife, a butter knife, loosen it up underneath the counter. I'm going to get my pan, and then we're going to actually put it together on the pan. But while I'm making my dough flour mess here on the counter, I'm going to go ahead and just roll out the rest of my crust for the hand pies. Okay, so we have our 4 little hand pie pastries here. I already have them on my baking dish. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of add our ground beef vegetable mixture to them. You're going to want to kind of scoot it to 1/2 because you're going to fold the other half of your pastry over. And you want to leave enough room to pinch the crust together. Just like that. And someone could use a little bit more. Then you're gonna fold it over and press down. You could use a fork if you would like. Just gonna pinch it together with my fingers. Just like so. And then we're gonna get an egg and we are going to egg wash it and put it in the oven for about 425 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes until the crust is kind of a golden crunchy brown, and it will be delicious. So the dough recipe that I made 4 hand pies. So if you want to make more than that, you can just double or triple the original dough recipe. The original dough recipe I will leave in the description below as well. It is 1.5 cups of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, a pinch of sugar, 5 tablespoons of ice water, and 8 tablespoons of butter. So that recipe right there will make about 2 hand pies. So you want to double that recipe for every number of, for every 2 pies you want to make. So this recipe also has a whole pound of ground beef. Now I like to save time. And so what I like about this recipe is it's very versatile. You could actually add this mixture into a breakfast casserole and bake it in the oven with some more eggs. Do an egg bake. You could add this to soup. You could do a taco soup. You could do a chili. You could do a vegetable soup. You could do all sorts of things with this. I am actually going to freeze it and I'm going to use it again for another meal I have coming up in a couple of weeks. And if you don't want to use ground beef, you can also use ground turkey, or you can use actual steak bites, which would be phenomenally delicious. Our ground beef vegetable hand pies are done. They've got a golden brown crust, amazing flavor. This is a delicious dinner recipe to add to your meal plan, especially during the cold winter months. I hope you all enjoy this. We'll see you next time. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Tonight I am making a super easy weeknight dinner recipe using leftovers. We made chili over the weekend, and you know what? It just always happens. My chili recipe is amazing. I'll link to it above, but we can never eat it all. And so I'm going to use it up tonight and make some chili tater tot casserole. We also have a huge, ginormous bag of tater tots to use up. So perfect way to use up things that we have on hand and to not let food go to waste. Basically, this casserole dish is just a couple of quick, simple, throw it all into the dish and put it into the oven. That easy. Let's go ahead and make a layer of tater tots on the bottom. This is also a dish that you can just kind of leave warm. It keeps warm for a long time. You can also have it kind of stay in your oven, just at a warm setting, and it will keep fresh. We're going to add our chili. Oh my gosh, you guys, this chili is amazing. It makes 2 bowls. I can't help it. I always have to make 2 bowls worth, huge bowls worth when I make chili. The recipe is that good. We usually share. My husband will take some to work and share it with some of his coworkers who I've known for a long time. So I like to feed the guys. And I'm gonna take the chili and we are just slathering it on top of the tater tots. like so. I am going to add a little bit of seasoning anytime I'm using potatoes, especially if I'm doing like breakfast potatoes or tater tots. I like to do onion and herb seasoning. It just adds a little flavor to non-seasoned potatoes. So I'm just going to kind of add that to the top. We're going to throw on some shredded cheddar cheese. Great way to add protein to your potatoes. I'm not even using a whole bag of shredded cheddar. This is probably like a cup and a half maybe. And that is really all there is to it. I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 degrees, bake it for 15-20 minutes. I want to make sure the tater tots get nice and hot on the bottom. The cheese on top gets melted and bubbly. And that's all there is to it, to this awesome recipe. The chili cheese tater tot casserole is all done. This is such a simple and easy dinner to put together. Kids like it, and I hope your family enjoys it too. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today we are doing comfort food. We are doing whiskey peach meatballs, or bourbon barbecue peach meatballs. I love meatballs. If you've been around for a while, you know I have some great meatball recipes. This is a go-to that I like to use every spring. It's got that springy peachy vibe to it. It's great in the summer as well. You can make these in your slow cooker or in the oven. I'm going to make them in the oven today. And I am going to start with about 2 pounds of thawed ground beef. If you want to, you could use some ground turkey as well. And again, this is just kind of approximate 2 pounds. It might be a little more, a little less. We love meatballs in our family. So as you go through this recipe video, guys, I will link to my other meatball recipes up in the top corner there. And I'm going to put all the ingredients and directions in the description below for you. All right, I am going to start with my meatballs, actually. I'm going to crack 1 egg. And we're going to put it right in with the beef. And I am going to get some breadcrumbs. Now, if you don't have breadcrumbs, you could use like saltine crackers, all crushed up. Basically, so the sauce for these meatballs is very saucy. So there's a lot of moisture that's already going to be in there. So the breadcrumbs or crackers just kind of helps keep your meatballs together. And I'm going to sprinkle in maybe about a half a cup, 1/4 cup to half a cup here. I'm going to actually mix this together. This is one of those recipes you got to dive right in, get a little bit gooey here. Got a few pieces finished thawing. There we go. We'll pull these apart. All right. Get that egg kind of mixed in there and the breadcrumbs. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands really quick and we're gonna put the sauce together. All right, I'm gonna set that bowl aside and grab a smaller bowl for us to blend our sauce together. I'm gonna start with 1/2 cup of chili sauce, which honestly is it's probably about half the bottle. That's be about good. And then we are going to do a dash of Worcestershire sauce. Say that one 3 times fast. Oop, just a splash there. I'm gonna add in some black pepper. And we're gonna do about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And this is where the good stuff comes in. I'm gonna start with some Kinder's wing sauce. This is actually bourbon peach barbecue flavored, which was kind of ironic. I actually just randomly saw this in the grocery store not long ago. But we're gonna actually, if you can't find this and you don't wanna use it, that's fine, because we are gonna mix together sweet hot pepper jam, peach preserves and some whiskey to really get that bourbon peach flavor into these meatballs. This is just a bonus perk, and I'm gonna just squeeze some in there, about a half a cup. Now I'm going to grab the sweet hot pepper jelly. Now, if you could find hot pepper peach preserves, that's fine. A little bit hard to find probably in some areas, so I'm just using good old sweet hot pepper jelly. This is the kind of stuff I like to find at like local markets, farmers markets, stuff that's made kind of locally. And we are gonna do about a cup and a half. Honestly, I'm probably gonna use almost, my husband really likes hot pepper jelly, so I'm not gonna use all of it. This is probably about a cup and a half, guys, of hot pepper jelly. And then I'm gonna grab some peach preserves. We're gonna do about a cup or so of the peach preserves. Boy, these are gonna be saucy, but it is so sweet and so good. Now I am going to grab my whiskey, my bourbon. All right, this is good stuff. It is straight bourbon whiskey, and I'm gonna use, okay. Now, we're gonna whisper this because my husband loves good whiskey. Y'all, we're gonna use half a cup. Oh yeah. He's gonna come home and be like, honey, what on earth were you drinking? I don't barely drink, guys. I don't drink too often. I sure don't drink whiskey. Oh, but I love to cook with whiskey. Makes for great sauces. Okay, I've got the lid on there. We're gonna very slowly mix this together. I'm actually using a spoon with some holes in it to kind of get that jelly and preserves mixed together well. What we are gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of this into our meatballs directly. And then we are going to put them into our baking dish and pour the rest of the sauce glaze over the meatballs and let that bake on. I can smell the peaches. It smells so good. Okay, let's grab our big old bowl of ground beef here. And I'm making sure to get some of that jelly here from the sauce bowl. And I put in probably about a cup total of the sauce. I'm gonna grab my baking dish. And we are going to mix, and I have sprayed my baking dish. We're gonna mix this in together. I told you this recipe is a bit of a messy hands-on one, but let me tell you, your family will love these meatballs. They are so, so good. Okay, now I'm gonna start making my meatballs. You can make these however big that you want to. And if you feel like your meatballs aren't going to stick together very well, feel free to add some more breadcrumbs into them. You just want to make sure that you are consistent in the size of the meatballs so that they cook and bake evenly. I like to do kind of bigger ones, unless I'm doing meatball subs, and then I do smaller ones. If you're looking for some other great side dishes to go with meatballs, I've got an amazing Southern crock pot mac and cheese recipe. It is so, so good. It's one of my favorite comfort foods to go to. I've got a whole playlist of side dishes, you guys, that you could make. Potato salad, all sorts of pasta salads, actual salads. You could also totally freeze half this batch of meatballs if you wanted to, and then thaw and bake them at another time. Love meal prep type recipes. That makes those busy weeknights a lot easier. Okay, I'm gonna finish making my meatballs here, and then we'll put the rest of our sauce glaze on top. You can see there's actually pieces of fresh peaches in the peach preserve jar that I picked out. which makes these so sweet when you bite into them. You want to make sure you wash your hands very well after making your meatballs, obviously dealing with raw ground beef. I'm going to grab my bowl of sauce, give it another little mix here, and I'm kind of literally just going to drizzle this right over the top of the meatballs. And my 2 pounds or so of ground beef made 16 large meatballs, so it makes plenty. Oh yeah, these are gonna smell so good when they bake in the oven. I'm gonna bake these at 425 degrees. Now every oven's a little different and depends on the size of your meatballs. I have large meatballs. Mine's probably gonna take about 35 minutes or so, maybe 40. You wanna make sure that I always cut into the very middle meatball. Make sure it's thoroughly cooked. When that middle one is cooked all the way through, all of the meatballs are ready to go. I'll show you what these all look like when they're all done baking. I'm gonna go work on making a honey lime fruit salad because yum. Here are the bourbon peach meatballs. You can see the pieces of peach in them. It just adds a sweet bite of flavor. They smell heavenly. I cannot wait to eat these tonight. We're gonna do spicy noodles and then a honey lime fruit salad to go with dinner. Thank you all so much for watching this recipe video. Thank you for sharing our recipes with your family and friends. You can find a pin to save this recipe on Pinterest in the description below, and we will see you all next time.